Well, we are in Berea, where we heard from team owner Jimmy Haslam a few days after the Browns parted ways with their GM. That was a few days after they fired their head coach. They are starting over again. And Mary Kay, when it comes to what Haslam had to say today, there wasn't a lot different from what we've heard in the past, but there were a few things that stood out we're going to touch on here. What stood out to you?
Well, first of all, he admits there are no guarantees they're going to get it right this time. This is the fifth GM, fifth head coach they have fired. Why does he think it's going to be different this time? He believes that they are going to align these people for the first time, and that has been a problem since they took over in 2012. They always, leave old people in the building and try to bring new people in, but the philosophies never seem to line up. I think they're heading more towards analytics now, with Paul DePodesta kind of at the top, setting strategy for the organization, and I think everyone will have to fall in line under that heading. Also, Urban Meyer is not a candidate right now. This first wave, they're focusing primarily on NFL experience. Doesn't necessarily have to be head coaching experience, although Mike McCarthy's been in the building today. They're interviewing Greg Roman tonight in Baltimore, the Ravens offensive coordinator. But NFL experience is the order of the day right now, and basically they're going to hire the head coach first, and the coach will have a say in who the new GM is. Not final say, but a large voice.
Ellis, what stood out to you?
Yeah, what stood out to me was when Haslam went and shared how many people really have their hands in this search. First, he made it sound like there's a core group of 4 or 5 people that have this decision, but then he went on to say D. Haslam and others whose opinion we value. That stood out. That makes it sound like there's a lot of people in his ear. Also, he said that he met with 20 to 30 players and then later called them core players. Now, I know this is just terminology, but to have a core of 25 to 30 players sounds like a lot of people. So again, these are just things he's saying, but it's a little alarming when that many people still have his ear, which has seemed to be the problem since since Haslam has taken over here in Cleveland.
Which kind of brings me to what stood out to me, and that's, there's going to be a lot of talk about the structure. It happens every single time we talk about, well, you got to hire the GM first, then the coach, and then the pendulum swings back. There's one common theme here. Jimmy Haslam talked about it. They've done what they learned in their first 2 to 3 coaching searches. They've only owned the team since about 2012. It's not the structure. It's the people putting the structure in place and not really ensuring that it was going to be able to stick or not sticking by it. It starts with ownership. They're going to have to change their approach and the way they handle things once they finally get their head coach and GM in place. Of course, we'll have full coverage of the press conference today and the ongoing coaching and then GM search at cleveland.com/Browns. And of course, you can get news on Football Insider as well. Click on the banner at the top of the page.